Welcome into Power Plays. We are Line Change Action Network's hockey betting podcast. This little thing we do is presented by Bet365, and by little thing we do, little draft of best bets for Saturday's NHL slate. I'm Tim Kalinowski, the miserable Islanders fan. His name is Michael Leboff, and the handsome one is Nick Martin. So last time, Leboff had the #1 overall pick, and he won with it with the Washington Capitals. So now I believe that puts Nick in turn for the #1 overall pick, right? Nick, you were 2 last week. Okay, last episode. So Nick, you will have the #1 overall
I think
pick.
I went with, didn't I go with the Islanders?
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Did you?
He
Oh,
said he liked the Caps on my losing spot
oh,
of the under, so we owe some money
oh
here.
God. You could have just let it ride, and I wouldn't have known.
I know. I was trying to think. I was like, I know I bet the Caps, but
Oh,
Transparency.
Leboff.
transparency, Tim.
That's pretty good out of you. I was throwing you a bone, I think. All right, fine.
Timmy transparency.
Yeah. I promise I wasn't trying to pull a stunt. I was trying to throw the guy a bone. I thought the Caps pick was pretty gutsy, and
No,
he
I
hit it.
think I
So
think we reverse swept the
yeah,
board.
yeah, yeah. We're not gonna mention that. New day, Saturday. Nick Martin, you have the first overall pick. Who you taking here?
I'm going with the Canucks. I think we're getting a good spot to. I don't necessarily want to say buy low, but I love the price as a pick 'em right now. If with them at home, 4-game losing streak, I think we've kind of seen the worst of it. For me, this kind of sets up as a do you think the Canucks are a true fraud or not kind of spot is the way I'm posing this. You look at the Bruins right now, their process hasn't been overly impressive either. They'll be playing their 3rd game in 4 nights. And this one, credit to them for getting 3 out of 4 out of the start of this Western Canadian road swing. I think that was definitely a favorable running of those games. I think with Lindholm out and potentially still Grizzlick, the back end's a lot more susceptible. And if you look at a wider sample of their play right now, they really haven't had many convincing games of late. They've gone to overtime a ton. They've found a way to get points in those matchups. But I think in this spot, we're going to see the Canucks stabilize, come out, bring a really solid, sharp effort. I think right now that can pay off versus the Bruins. So I think the price is better than we might see normally with the Canucks. And I like the chances that they bring a good effort and snap this losing streak at home.
Yeah, the Bruins and the Canucks, no history there at all. These two teams, nothing between the two of them. Leboff, do you have a lean on where Nick is on this game?
Yeah, I like the Canucks too. Weird schedule spot for Boston, 3-4. And I think they're getting a little bit, like Nick said, like a little bit too much credit for how they played in the Alberta two-step. The injuries on the back end can't really be overlooked either. And I like that how Nick kind of put that, right? Like the heat is starting to be turned up on Vancouver for the first time really all season. I mean, they've probably heard the whispers of people thinking that this is just some season-long PDO bender, and now that the losses are actually coming, they get a chance to respond here. So I think that you are getting a pretty good spot. I mean, it's a pick 'em. Canucks are a home team in a better schedule spot, so the market is telling you that even with those injuries, the Bruins are, I don't want to say a lot better, but like a fair bit better than this Canucks team, and I think that maybe is a little bit too far here. And the Bruins kind of remind me a little bit of the Knights right now with where they are in their schedule. We kind of know they're sure they're fighting for the division and all that, but like this is a team that's gonna probably click into some sort of like pace ourselves mode for the postseason. So I'm looking to go against this Bruins team quite a bit, and this is a good price to do it.
Yeah, I think basically the books are saying that Vancouver or Boston is better. It's just making a statement in that is who they think is the better team. Not so much here, especially with the Bruins decimated back end. In this little swing here with Edmonton, Calgary, and Vancouver, if they could get 3 points out of it, which they already have, I think they'd be pretty happy with it with the 3-4 here. So I don't hate it either. For second overall pick comes to me, and I'm going to go with the Colorado Avalanche as short favorites. I'd like it probably to -135 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is another 3-4 spot for the Maple Leafs this time. And Leboff, you mentioned something during our regular recording as of line change and teams going to Colorado for either a back-to-back or a 3-4. That altitude can make for a bit of a tough spot. I think this Leafs team, I'm not excited to fade them on this heater that they're on, but I just think that it's the last game of this road trip. Could be a successful road trip, whether they win or lose this game. And Colorado is a tough out, especially when you go to Colorado and play at that altitude. They're similar teams in that they rely a lot on their big guns. So To me, I think that this price just doesn't have enough of the Toronto 3 and 4 baked into it. Plus, the schedule has been a little soft. They get credit for taking care of business, but that Vegas team is really banged up, and the Yotes are look out below. So I'm liking Colorado here as a short favorite. Nick, I believe you're objecting a little bit to this.
I am. I think you made a good case with the scheduling spot and teams coming into Colorado, and Colorado was definitely a little hard done by versus Detroit. But if you look at where they're at in terms of their underlying results, they are giving up a ton of chances. I don't think their play has been overly well-rounded as a team. They have the star power to, find ways to win in spite of that. But I think it's kind of a big ask right now. Toronto's actually got a lot of guys pulling on the rope, looking really good. They've got their superstars going as well. So I don't know. I'm a little less sold on this one. I think it's a dicey spot for me as a backing the Avs as a favorite.
Well, I'll chop in and say I would like the over at 6.5 if it's still there at Bet365 by the time you're watching this. So I would say I'd like that as well in this case scenario, because both teams play a little bit of a wide open style. Lieboff, any sense on this?
Yeah, I think I'd lean with you, Tim, here. It's just a Leafs team that is playing at the peak of their powers. And I tend to go against teams when we get to that point, looking to sell high. The thing with the thing that scares me here with the Avalanche is that they're just not getting anything from that bottom part of their roster still, and that's going to be a problem, no matter, especially against teams that can match them man for man and at the top. So, yeah, this one is probably just going to be a pass for me. But if I had to choose, I'd likely play Avalanche as a short favorite.
In other words, the Avalanche don't have Bobby McMahon, I think is what you were basically getting at. All right, we'll go to our third and final pick, Michael Lieboff. Before he goes, though, I have to tell you that Power Plays is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than anyone else. Every day, they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays, and they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boost and see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, or 18 plus in Kentucky and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And the rest of those states, Colorado, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, and 100% bets off in Iowa. Terms and conditions apply. Really training my state abbreviations there, Lieboff. You probably wouldn't be too proud of me. So who are you going with the third here?
I'm going to go with a team that hails from a place with the easiest abbreviation you can get on the United States map, which is DC. That's the Washington Capitals. They're plus 180, taking on the Florida Panthers. A couple weeks ago, I was really skeptical of where this was going to go with Washington. They were kind of at a crossroads. I thought that they might be the first team that we could circle and say that they were going to sort of play out the string of the schedule, considering the makeup of their team. It's still pretty, veteran heavy. The veterans are the guys doing the heavy lifting. And if they were left for dead in the playoff race, I thought maybe you'd get a serious tailspin out of them. They proved me completely wrong there. And now they're a team that I've actually completely changed my tune on. And I want to back them when they're big prices. And I backed them against the Lightning the other night. They're, in that plus 165 range. Thought that was a great price. Because of the things that Washington does well, just really raises its floor. We already know they have a low ceiling, but they're kind of, the room between their floor and ceiling is pretty short. So they're a weird team in that way. But they do their business in the defensive zone. This is a team that is well structured, well coached. They kind of know how to manage situations. They're naggy, they're pesky. I know TJ Oshie's out. I'm not too concerned about that. They get good goaltending, and hey, Alex Ovechkin's starting to heat up too, and I actually think that makes a bigger difference than people will realize on a team game. So with Florida banged up here, coming off of what was a huge game and a very well fought game against another Eastern Conference heavyweight in Carolina the other night, this looks like a decent letdown spot. We could see Anthony Stolarz go for the Panthers as well after Bobrovsky was pretty busy in that 1-0 loss to Carolina. Kachuk and Forsling, status unknown for them. So I think there's enough here to back the Capitals at anything better than plus 170.
Yeah, Lieboff dropping the ceiling is the floor line essentially there. And all you need to know about hockey betting is I felt like, one of my few wins on Thursday night was the Hurricanes over the Panthers, and it felt like I really got away with one. A team Carolina did not feel deserved to win that game. They get a goal called back, or Florida gets a goal called back for offsides, and somehow Carolina ends up winning the game. Meanwhile, you have other teams play other teams out of the building, and you somehow end up on the losing end. So that is hockey betting in a nutshell, I feel like. So I like where you're looking there with the letdown spot. Leboff, Nick, your Caps, any opinion on the matter?
Yeah, I thought this one was closer to fair. I could see it. Like, if you can still get the same number with Stolarz in, Forsling out, and Kachuk out, I could see it. But I think the Caps are still a little inflated right now. I completely agree with Mike's assessment of how they're playing and why they're good. I liked them in Tampa. I liked the under as well, which was a disaster. But it kind of works to my point here that I think on average what the Caps have done offensively recently is not going to hold. And I think that is going to make it tough to hang around a spot like this versus Florida, where they're going to give up their share. I don't think their kind of bend but don't break defensive strategy will work. And I look at their recent games, the 3 wins versus the Habs, the Devils, and the Lightning last time out. I thought there's a lot of clear breakdowns from every team they played where it didn't feel like it was the Caps working and finding something. It was the other team falling apart. The Lightning's back end ended up being really dinged up for that game. So I'm a little unsold on this one. I don't hate it, but I think it's a pretty tough spot. Maybe not my favorite time to buy on the Caps.
Yeah, Leboff, winning the Capitals bet the other night against the Lightning felt like, for me, it would be a win your money and then run away and say, Capitals, I'll see you in 2 weeks. So props to you for going back to the well, even though I gave you credit for a win that didn't actually happen. Just to recap, Nick Martin is on the Vancouver Canucks over the Boston Bruins. Michael Leboff is on the Washington Capitals over the Florida Panthers. And I'm on the Colorado Avalanche over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Enjoy your Saturday night NHL betting. Should be a great day of hockey. Some tremendous matchups. Looking forward to it. Make sure you follow us all on the Action app as well. We are Line Change. This is Power Play, and we're presented by Bet365. Have a great weekend, everyone.